Let's get it out of the way right now. Corsola is pretty bad in GSCNU. While it does have some alluring qualities, its viability is ruined by its poor stats and a problematic typing. Normally I wouldn't make a video on crap mons like Corsola, but Corsola does technically have a niche, and it does highlight something I like about GSCNU. You can make a lot of bad Pokemon somewhat usable with the right team. Pokemon in this category include Venomoth, Furret, Machoke, and of course Corsola. Corsola is an example of a Pokemon whose viability is ruined by being nearly impossible to fit on a team, and I don't see people talking about that much. Let's look at GSCNU Corsola. The most valuable thing Corsola possesses is Recover, arguably the best move in the entire game. Recover has 32 PP, giving Corsola immense longevity. If Corsola ever gets low, just pop a Recover and get half of your HP back. You can use Recover multiple times to get out of KO range against Pokemon like Octillery. Recover is much better than the rest that other rock types, like Graveler and Sudowoodo, must use for recovery. Corsola's part rock typing is very helpful in a metagame filled with normal and fire types. Corsola's part water typing is helpful for a rock type, since it isn't weak to water and has stab, surf or ground types, like Dugtrio or Graveler. Thanks to its typing, Corsola answers threats like Curse Wigglytuff, Fearow, Sunny Day Ninetales, Rapidash, Restalk Flareon, Dugong, and under specific circumstances, Persian. This is a pretty good and unique set of Pokemon to check with one slot. Corsola uses Screech to nullify the curse defense boost of Wigglytuff and slowly break it down. It can do the same versus Porygon, though Porygon has the threat of Paralysis and Bulk Beam sets. Corsola can even pair Curse with Screech to set up alongside Wigglytuff and then break it down with Screech. Return is generally preferred over Rock Slide on this set due to higher PP. Corsola can work on specific bulky teams as a check to these Pokemon who can potentially pose a sweep. That's right, Corsola can potentially sweep if the Pokemon that it struggles against are removed, and the only Pokemon remaining are, say, Fearow and Wigglytuff. It's just annoying that fitting Corsola onto a team is nearly impossible. So what's wrong with Corsola? Oh, a hell of a lot. While Corsola does match up well versus some top threats, there are others who it just really sucks against. The most prominent of these is Weezing, who completely dominates Corsola. Weezing is very bulky and does a lot to Corsola with Thunder. Weezing is very prominent, so you have to build around that. Corsola is also terrible into Primeape and Hitmonlee as a result of their stab fighting moves and Rock Slide resistance. Kingler can set up all over Corsola and break it with boosted Hidden Power Ground. You gotta build around them too. Corsola is pretty bad against Statler thanks to Earthquake, so you gotta build around that. Dugtrio is very annoying for Corsola, especially the non-Surfsa, because of Screech and Earthquake. You gotta build around that. Corsola is not very good against Octillery. While it's not completely countered by it, Octillery has free entry on it and does a lot of damage with Surf and Hidden Power Electric. Octillery has a lot of turns to fish for a critical hit on Corsola, and one of them puts it out of commission if it didn't recover on that turn. As a result, you gotta build around that. There are a lot of prominent metagame threats who are awful for Corsola to handle. It gives free entry to Pokemon like Weezing and Primeape. You gotta pair Corsola with Ninetales for Weezing, Weezing or Gloom for Primeape and Hitmonlee, Xatu or Pidgeot for Statler and Kingler, another Water type or Pidgeot for Dugtrio, and so on. You gotta pair Corsola with all these Pokemon just for it to be somewhat decent. Corsola has its own problems too. Its stats means it doesn't have the best bulk, it's extremely slow, and it takes multiple curses to actually pose a threat. Corsola's mediocre bulk means it often has to sit there and spam Recover over and over again, giving you a lot of opportunities to crit it. Status moves, like Toxic or Thunder Wave, are typically a death sentence because of how Corsola plays and because it doesn't use rest. Corsola is generally outclassed by Graveler, who has a much bigger immediate offensive presence, rapid spin, and explosion. It's also immune to electric. There are scenarios where Corsola has the edge over Graveler, but these don't compare to the scenarios Graveler has an edge over Corsola. It's certainly possible to make Corsola work, but it takes a lot of effort to get it working. A lot of effort. It's usually not worth it when you pull it off. Corsola is still a highly flawed Pokemon.